This is Prime Time News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I am Shaheen Jurangpati.
And I am Dasmia Thalda. Let's start off at a look at tonight's headlines.
Pujit Jayasundara appointed Inspector General of Police. VAT will not impact essential goods. Reassurance from the government. Court orders authorities to inspect 5 bank accounts belonging to former Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage. Police officer arrested on charges of covering up evidence in the murder of Wasim Tajuddin. Fidel Castro makes rare public appearance as Cuba's Communist Party prepares for transition.
Now for a comprehensive look at those stories, President Maithripala Sirisena says all electronic media should take steps to ensure that correct information is disseminated for the benefit of the people. The President made this statement at a meeting held last evening.
The President met with officers of the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission and the heads of all electronic media institutions at the Presidential Secretariat last evening. President Sirisena noted at this meeting that he had been informed of fraud and corruption taking place in the TRC. He noted that appropriate steps would be taken in line with the government's program to eradicate fraud and corruption from state institutions. It was pointed out at the meeting that since statistics provided at media organizations are an asset of the people, it is the responsibility of these organizations to provide correct information. The President noted that certain media institutions were misusing statistics and acting in violation of their licenses. Furthermore, President Sirisena noted that steps would be taken to address shortcomings in the Telecommunications Regulation Act.
We have seen instances where certain organizations act disregarding even the existence of such institutions. Certain media organizations do not provide correct information regarding the activities of the government to the country. I'm saddened by the wrong manner in which some media organizations speak of me to the country. When considering all of this and the task of guaranteeing the freedom of the media, we must consider the functions of the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, state policy, and how far the policy of the freedom of the media is a reality and whether this freedom is being used impartially.
Meanwhile, a workshop was held in Colombo today for local government leaders and provincial government officials under the auspices of the President.
Something I have seen over the past several decades is that when the government appoints a minister in charge of local government, the position is usually given to a person simply because the government of the day needs to give that person a ministerial portfolio. It is not given to a talented individual who can fulfill the task. The same applies to the Cultural Affairs Ministry. But if the local government and cultural affairs portfolios are given to the right person, it is very easy for this person to capture the entire nation. There are no limits to these two portfolios, so the person who fulfills his tasks in these two portfolios will find it very easy to move forward in national politics. I do not wish to speak more on this, but this time around, I have conferred this portfolio on a talented person who is capable of that task. He is carrying out this role with commitment. He speaks to me at least twice a week over the telephone, informing me of the problems in the ministry, what needs to be done and what is being done to address it.
Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara received the letter of appointment from President Maithripala Sirisena this afternoon as Sri Lanka's new Inspector General of Police.
3 senior Deputy Inspector Generals of Police were nominated to the Constitutional Council by the President for the post of Inspector General of Police, left vacant by N.K. Langakun. The Constitutional Council had thereby recommended Senior DIG Pujit Jayasundara to the President as the next IGP. With the consent of the President, the appointment letter was presented to Senior DIG Pujit Jayasundara today. Meanwhile, Pujit Jayasundara assumed duties as the new Inspector General of Police earlier this evening. Pujit Senadi Bandara Jayasundara was born on the 15th of March 1960 in the hill capital, Kandy, and was a past student of Dharmaraju College, Kandy. Holding a degree in business management from the Sri Jayawardhanapura University, Jayasundara joined the police service on the 2nd of May 1985 as an assistant superintendent of police. He was promoted to the rank of superintendent in 1991, senior superintendent in 1996, and on the 11th of May 2005, Jayasundara was promoted to the post of Deputy Inspector General of Police. On the 2nd of June 2010, Pujit Jasundara was appointed as a senior DIG and has been appointed as the senior DIG in charge of the Uba province, western, northern and eastern provinces. An officer who has shown skill in tackling terrorism, drug smuggling and numerous other fields, Pujit Jasundara is Sri Lanka's 34th Inspector General of Police.
Cuban President Raul Castro will serve a second term as head of Cuba's Communist Party alongside other veterans as the island's aging leaders see out a final period in power amid economic reform and detente with the United States. Cuba's former leader Fidel Castro was among the participants of the Congress and spoke before President Raul Castro.
Pronto deberé cumplir 90 años. Nunca se me habría ocurrido tal idea y nunca fue fruto de un esfuerzo. Fue capricho del azar. Pronto seré ya como todos los demás. A todos nos llegará nuestro turno, pero quedarán las ideas de los comunistas cubanos. A nuestros hermanos de América Latina y del mundo debemos transmitirle que el pueblo cubano vencerá. Tal vez sea de las últimas veces que hable en esta sala. Emprenderemos la marcha y perfeccionaremos lo que debemos perfeccionar. Con lealtad meridiana y la fuerza unida como Martí, Maceo y Gómez en marchas indetenibles. Fin.
The 84-year-old President Raul Castro said it would be the last one headed by the current leaders, signaling that they would step aside sometime before the next such meeting in 5 years. The Communist Party, whose leadership elections were announced by state media yesterday, wants to avoid any chaotic collapse as it wrestles with economic change and a transition from the generation of leaders who fought in the 1959 revolution.
Still in local news, at the Cabinet press briefing held today, views were expressed regarding the proposed tax amendments.
As per the instructions of the President, this tax will not be levied on water, electricity and similar goods. This VAT will not be imposed on any of the goods for which relief was granted through the budget. Therefore, as much as we need to increase government revenue, we also need to strengthen the private sector in order to increase job opportunities. These are not terms dictated to us by the World Bank, IMF or any other foreign institution. We hope to decrease the budget deficit from 5.9 to 5.4 this year. This tax will not be imposed on essential goods, but in fact on luxury goods. We have amended this in a manner which will directly affect luxury goods. This tax will directly affect the people through the telecommunications sector and 2 other services. A fair burden will be placed upon the public, but all other goods have been freed from this tax. Therefore, we would like to clearly consider it our responsibility to inform through the media that this tax will not be imposed on any of the essential goods. VAT is charged from private hospitals. Except for the tax imposed on the channeling service, there will not be an increase in channeling fees. This is because I have permitted the maximum charge in channeling fees. They cannot charge more than that. Therefore, no one in Sri Lanka can increase their prices on the basis that the VAT has been increased. I hope to decrease the ceiling on channeling fees further in a couple of days. The Prime Minister made a clear promise that all VAT charged from private hospitals will be used to improve and uplift the state health sector. In the education sector, VAT charged on international schools will be directed through the budget circular towards the Ministry of Education in order to improve the state education sector.
Ministers from the United National Party were summoned to Temple Trees today.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe met with the cabinet, state and deputy ministers from the United National Party at Temple Trees today to discuss future plans and preparations for May Day.
We
are hoping to gather millions of people on May Day and commence the development journey to swiftly bring money to the people's coffers, give them the benefits of development and fulfill their hope for a historic development drive.
The President said the tax burden will not be put on the people. As a party, what is your stance?
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa designed the landmine for burdening the people with taxes instead of initiating projects for the benefit of the people with the loans obtained at the incendiary interest rates. I do not know where that money was spent. The Mahinda Rajapaksa regime succeeded in raising per capita debt from 125,000 to 475,000. The founding father of the miracle was the one who created the tax burden trap. The Honourable Prime Minister informed us that the government is ready to launch the development programme. We held discussions on giving the benefits of development to the people and the country.
Were discussions held on the IMF loan?
We held discussions regarding the debt trap that the country is in, the amount of loans taken in the recent past, the increase in loans, recovering money obtained through loans and steps that can be taken through schemes including the International Monetary Fund to escape this debt trap with minimal impact on the people.
What about amending the VAT?
A new program for the VAT tax was discussed. We spoke about how we can implement it, leaving aside essential goods as much as possible and not causing a burden on education. We spoke about the lies being told by some people. We will tell the people the truth. This will not affect ordinary people. It will not affect essential goods.
The Department of Meteorology is forecasting showers for many parts of the island in the next 24 hours. The public are being warned to take precautions to prevent lightning-related accidents.
Sleet was experienced in the Kiribati town and surrounding areas this afternoon. Heavy showers lashed Colombo and surrounding areas this afternoon as well. Meanwhile, property at a house in Hewa in Avisavella was damaged in a lightning strike last evening. We have experienced the gradual increase of lightning patterns in the month of April. The satellite data and operations we have conducted confirms this. In our operations, we have noticed an increase in lightning patterns for each area. Following our discussions, we believe that one should be aware of ways to avoid lightning-related accidents. In the event of thunder showers, the pressure may cause gale force winds. We wish to request the public to be cautious of this. We also wish to request the public to unplug all electrical appliances in the event of lightning. Furthermore, we ask the people to restrict the use of telephones as much as possible.
Welcome back to the news. Focus was drawn at the media briefing on cabinet decisions held today towards the talks underway to secure a loan from the International Monetary Fund.
අපි negotiate කරපු ගාන තමයි 1.5 billion.
We have asked for 1.5 billion from the IMF. We will not utilize it for the development of the country. We will be using it to control foreign exchange. This will be added to the reserves. The second one is the ADB scheme, the Asian Development Bank. The World Bank can be approached only if the IMF approves. The same applies to the Asian Development Bank. As soon as it is approved, we will be receiving the money without any conditions. And now Japan has also joined. In the future, when the reserves get stronger, we will be able to utilize this money for developmental activities. I will clearly say that the IMF did not come up with conditions for our country. They told us to show how well we manage this. They are referring to the budget deficit and other financial management shortcomings. How are we going to manage what we receive? That is not considered a condition.
Court gave permission today for 5 bank accounts belonging to parliamentarian Mahindananda Alutkamage to be inspected.
The Colombo Fort Magistrates Court ordered the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption to submit a report to court after inspecting the said 5 bank accounts of the parliamentarian. Colombo Additional Magistrate Mihal Mohammed issued this order based on a request made by the Bribery Commission to court. The Voice Against Corruption organisation had filed a complaint with the Bribery Commission regarding this matter.
The Philippines Anti-Money Laundering Council, or AMLC, has filed a civil forfeiture case before a Manila court, paving the way for formal proceedings to return part of the $81 million stolen from Bangladesh Bank. The investigation into the attempted cyber heist of close to $1 billion of Bangladesh Bank funds from the New York Federal Reserve has implicated 8 Sri Lankans too.
The involvement of the Sri Lankans in the cyber heist came to light when $20 million of the stolen funds were transferred to the bank account of a private foundation in Colombo. Shalika Pereira, the owner of the account, had earlier said that the funds were transferred by a Japanese national known to an acquaintance of hers and claimed that she had been hoodwinked. Authorities investigating the transaction and the transfer of funds to the Shalika Foundation made submissions to court, following which the directors of the foundation were banned from overseas travel. According to the statement Shalika Pereira made to the police, an acquaintance, Veerapuli Mugandiramge Jayadeva, had coordinated with a Japanese national to transfer the funds to the account. Incidentally, this individual was a candidate at the 2001 general election. Jayadeva, who contested on the People's Alliance ticket from the Hambantota district under number 10, received 2,433 votes.
There has been a manipulator at work here. His name is Priyankara Jayadeva. It is said that he is the one who introduced Shalika Pereira. When he says that he is getting funds from abroad to enter politics and that he is going to build a housing project to enter politics, I'm a little suspicious. Because if he is to enter politics, then there must be a politician behind it. So who is the politician who is trying to bring him into politics? I believe that this should be the focus of the police investigations, finding out which politician was behind this.
Meanwhile, when News First visited the Shalika Foundation at number 10/2 on Ottidi Road, we were informed by Shalika Pereira's father that she was not present. Neighbours had this to say.
A woman named Shalika has been taking money from people, promising to send them abroad. Many arrive here. They have taken vehicles and people who do vehicle leasings arrive here in search of their vehicles.
At this instance, a woman alighted from the Shalika Foundation premises and interrupted the neighbours.
Inspector of Police Sumit Champika Pereira has been arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department in connection with the 2012 death of rugby player Wasim Tajuddin.
The police department said IP Sumit Champika Pereira had been arrested on the charge of covering up evidence during the investigation into Tajuddin's death. Pereira had served as the officer in charge of the crimes division at the Narayanpeta police station at the time. He will be produced in court tomorrow.
The police are following 2 leads into the recent theft of firearms from the Laggala police station. What actually did transpire at the Laggala police station on the 13th of this month? News First made inquiries.
A T-56 firearm and 5 revolvers were stolen from the temporary armory of the Laggala police station on the 13th of this month. The telephone operator at the police station, who saw the suspicious individual who fled after stealing the weapons, could not identify the suspect. The telephone operator said that the person who stole the weapons had threatened him using a T-56 firearm and he had subsequently attempted to take cover. I'm in front of the Laggala police station. The firearms theft that took place here a few days ago is a very controversial incident. However, 2 suspicious factors have arisen in connection with the incident. The telephone operator said that the suspicious individual had fled towards the behind of the police station. While the chest containing the firearms was kept near the front door of the police station, the suspect allegedly fled from a space that is frequented by police officers. Teams conducting investigations say this causes them to believe that the thief may have been a police officer. The statement made by the officer in charge of the keys lends weight to this suspicion. He said that on the night of the theft, his wallet and the bunch of keys was kept between two chairs. It has also come to light that the officer was asleep during the theft. While there are 14 keys on the ring, it is no easy task to identify the correct key. This gives rise to the suspicion that a person with a sound knowledge on the keys carried out the theft. Incidentally, the current OIC of the Lagala police is among the members of the committee appointed by the police department to investigate the theft. Investigators are focusing on whether there is a link between this incident and the theft of the weapons. I am on the road which leads to the police station from the main road. It must be noted that the police station is not located in a populous area. Since the Lagala new town is under construction, this is the only police station. The stolen weapons were found at a temple located not far from the police station. Investigations into the incident, which have as yet failed to identify a reason for the theft or the person or persons behind it, have now been handed over to the Criminal Investigations Department.
A general amnesty period was announced to hand over illegal firearms. Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, Karunasena Hettiarachchi, made this statement while attending a news conference held in Colombo today.
These firearms can be handed over to district secretariats, divisional secretariats and police stations. To encourage those who possess such firearms to hand them over, we have organized to give away cash awards which varies for each type of firearm. This decision was taken during the Security Council meeting we held with the President. Considering the current security situation in the country, we decided it was not necessary to have private firearms. Also during the Security Council meeting, it was decided that firearms could be requested for personal security and for cultivation purposes and will only be provided to those who are recommended by the committee to provide firearms. A sum of 5,000 rupees will be provided for a shotgun, 10,000 rupees for a pistol and revolver, and 25,000 rupees for a T-56 assault rifle. It was also pointed out during the media briefing today that operations will be conducted to nab those who do not hand over their firearms during this amnesty period.
The adoption of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority Act and the establishment of the authority was widely hailed as a positive step for free healthcare in Sri Lanka. However, a review of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority's operations over the past year affirms that what has been accomplished is unsatisfactory, to say the least. The Chief Executive Officer of the NMRA, who is required under the provisions of the Act to fulfill the responsibilities of regulation, went overseas on the 9th of this month, failing to secure the required approvals in a manner unbefitting his position. Incidentally, the state of affairs exposed by Action TV 5 days before the CEO went abroad did not arise even when there was no medicine regulatory authority in the country. The situation in question was the lack of 8 essential medicines at public hospitals in the country. Action TV exposed the cause for this shortage, citing a letter addressed by the Director General of Health Services, which highlights the fact that the authority failed to renew the registrations of suppliers for no apparent reason. The CEO of the NMRA, who failed to act even after receiving this letter on the 30th of March, travelled overseas 8 days later without obtaining the required approval of the Secretary of the Ministry of Health. Underprivileged patients seeking these 8 essential medications from public hospitals continue to be inconvenienced as a result of the inaction and delay. The dysfunctionality of the NMRA has even led to a situation where the Dental Institute in Colombo may have to be shut down. By failing to register new suppliers and renew the registrations of existing suppliers, the NMRA is creating a monopoly in medical supplies. The Health Ministry, which has been lethargic in addressing this issue, appointed the Deputy Director of Medical Supplies as the acting CEO of the NMRA effective yesterday, while the CEO remains overseas. Since the appointment is only valid until Friday, it cannot be expected that any decisions will be taken to address the dire shortage in essential medicines. Can persons who have for close to a year failed to even properly establish and run an office be entrusted with regulating the free healthcare services supply of medicines? Secretary to the President, over to you.
In sports news, it is cricket. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Cricket Medical Committee, Dr. Harinda Vijayasinghe, says national cricketer Lasith Malinga has a knee injury. Dr. Vijay Singh made this statement after Lasit Malinga appeared before the committee for a medical examination today. Lasit Malinga was informed recently that he is required to appear before the SLC Medical Committee for an examination. Malinga arrived at a private hospital in Colombo today to appear before the SLC Medical Committee.
In truth, he has a major problem with his knee. It is because of a stress reaction. We know that the knee comprises mainly of calcium and protein. The lack of calcium and protein is what we call stress reaction. If it intensifies, it could lead to a fracture. He feels pain even if he walks briskly. Considering the future risk, it is best to rest him. It is difficult for me to give a definite time frame.
Several SLC officials were also present at the medical examination.
Malinga came before the specialist doctors. They hope to submit a medical report by Monday.
Although Lasit Malinga left for India last Friday, he was unable to participate in the Indian Premier League T20 tournament due to a persisting foot injury.
And that is a wrap of News First Primetime News here on TV1 and Shakti TV. Well, if you missed out on our stories aired on Primetime News tonight, you can log on to our website www.Newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I am Shaheen Jurangpati.
And I am Dasnia Thada. Have a very pleasant night.